Alright, so this was the little bag that I had under this front seat of Rango that was spare parts. Not everything. I had some stuff stashed in a flat fender. You have to have stuff stashed everywhere. But this was the majority of kind of the go-to stuff, go-to parts bag. It probably is going to have a lot of stuff I don't remember, a lot of stuff that I never needed, but when I took it on Ultimate Adventure, I definitely took some stuff that probably wasn't normal, everyday stuff, but, it's always an art form to know what to take and what not to take, and that, I think, changes over time as you get more comfortable with a vehicle. It also, could become more stuff, could become less stuff as you upgrade the vehicle, as you find weak spots. So, yeah, I'm just going to go through this and see what's in here. I don't even remember what's in here. I literally just pulled this out of the seat to see everything in here and if it was in good shape. So we'll go through some of this stuff. So it looks like this was most of a spare spindle nut setup. So basically Jeep early spindle nut. It does look like I'm missing the foldable washer. I might have used that at one point. So had a spare spindle nut set. These look like spare bushings for the shackle mounts. On Rango, I only run flexible bushings on the shackle, the frame side of the shackle. The springs are actually bronze self-lubricating bushings that rotate on a sleeve. I found that to actually be a really good combo. So these are the only flexible bushings I have in the whole vehicle, is the upper side, frame side of the shackle, so I carried a spare. It looks like I still haven't needed those either. And I just got done replacing all the springs with the new custom Devers, which are mint. But I had a couple of the bronze bushings that were worn, but honestly, for how much I abused that Jeep and what those bushings cost and how easy they are to replace, I would probably just kind of put it on the 5-year list for going back in and replacing those bushings. So anyways, rambling. We had some vacuum plugs, spare vacuum plug set. Used a couple. Actually, here's one of those bushings that I use in the spring. This looks like the older version with the smaller sleeve. I upgraded that to a bigger sleeve when I did the new springs. So that. I think this is still closed, but this is a spare brake line, soft brake line. So I run the same brake line at all 4 corners. 1985 Honda Accord front brake line to my disc brake conversion. So I carry one spare and that'll fit all 4 spots. Oh boy. So a large assortment of hose clamps to fix various problems in that bag. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see here. Kind of cutting off the film here. So yeah, that was quite a lot of spare hose clamps. An old tool I made. This is for tightening pinion nuts and the transfer case output nut. It kind of fits in the yoke, and you can put a pry bar between here to the ground or to the frame or to the spring to help you get torque on the nuts. That's funny. I was kind of wondering actually where that had gone to. Spare fine spline 1310 yoke. This will fit the front and rear end, I believe. Spare 1310 course spline. So this would be the front or rear of the Dana 18. Boxes of empty stuff. It's probably bearings that are a little bit crusty and rusty now. I think those are wheel bearings. This looks like a spare U-joint. And actually still not in bad shape. This would be with the inside clips. So this is a spare front axle U-joint, it looks like. 297X sized, I think. I should probably remeasure that, but so that should fit the front axles with no clips, so that was smart, not really. The clips might be in here in another small bag. Roll of tie wire that kind of got put in here. Oh, here's the clips for the U-joint. Spare drive flange for the front axle. So basically this would have been a Quadra-Track Dana 30 front drive flange. So basically a replacement for a locking hub if I break one. Real simple, you know, no moving parts, small. So that's a good thing to have with you. Another one of those spring bushings. So I have a pair of those, which makes sense. How about some JB weld for fixing something? Usually this would be in a different spot, I think, with how I had it organized, but if it's in here, it's in here. It's a really crusty old electrical tape. Oh, spare pitman arm. So actually the pitman arm on Rango is very custom. It was a different length that I made. It's been on there 10 years now, but it was one of those things that I always was kind of nervous about. So I carried a spare, apparently. Still haven't needed it. That's heavy. This is... Oh, it's even labeled. Spare Dana 18 output shaft. So that was kind of one of the things I was a little nervous about. This needs cleaned up, but that's basically what that is a spare Dana 18 main shaft for the transfer case. Haven't needed that yet. Don't jinx me. And then this is a front, I believe. Yeah, Dana 18 front output shaft. I was always kind of nervous with the Dana 18, but it's actually been pretty durable. I haven't really had any problems with it other than leaking and getting really hot on the highway when I do full days at 3,000 RPM all day long. They do get kind of warm. Spare tie rod end. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't really want to unbag all this stuff yet, but spare front tie rod end left. So, and oh, here's the right version. So have both those. Those will fit either the tie rod or the drag link the way I have it built. So less spares, but they fit common spots. You guys can see all this stuff or not. Probably gonna have to break this video up maybe. But spare drive shaft U-bolts. I think these will fit any of the locations in the vehicle, so they'll work on the Dana 18 yokes or the front and rear axle yokes. They're all 1310 U-bolt, same size. The only difference is their fine spline yokes versus coarse spline. So, but still some pretty common parts. Piece of tubing. Looks like that stuff I used for the fuel tank sight tube, the Tygon stuff that's aged quite nicely, but it's there. Don't exactly remember what I had in mind with that, but it's there. We're getting down there now. Spare center pins, basically. So I have broken one or two of these, but these are basically just Allen socket head Allen bolts. They work good for emergency center pin and a leaf spring if you do break one. Probably gonna have to get longer ones now that the Devers are in there. These are probably too short. These were for the super lift springs, but I did have 3 of those apparently. HEI ignition module looks like. Looks fairly new, so it probably fell out of its box, but that's always a good one. The Buick 225 has a 231 odd fire HEI on it. It's been very, very reliable. I've never needed any of these parts, but I have a couple. I think I have a coil in the glove box too. Oh, the good old paracord. Never know what you're going to need with that, but looks like, you know, pretty good hank of paracord. Some 10 gauge power wire for some reason. Not bad to have, probably for jumpering something or you know, building a circuit or rebuilding a circuit, but some wire in there. And now we're getting down to the really weird stuff. Water temperature sensor for the fan controller, looks like. I think this was actually the low temperature version that I didn't use, that I should have used. And that is, looks like a barb to barb splice, 3/8 fuel line splice. That focus for you guys, hopefully. Like, looking at the top half of my head this whole time too, I know, I'm sorry. Looks like a nut for the spare nut for U-bolt. Random fine spline nut for something, I have no idea. Some leftover labels for trail gear. This was probably for a spare rear floater seal. It is no longer in here, but another nut for U-bolt spare. Another random bolt. And that's it, folks. That's all she has. Thanks for watching. I'll show you this when I put it all back together again too. But yeah, that's basically the spare parts bag. My Titan bags, let's see here, are slightly bigger, so I will probably consolidate a couple things if it'll still fit under the seat. I'll pull out everything from the glove box and go through that also. That was kind of another cubby for spare parts. Kind of stuff we picked up along the way too. Would always go in there because it didn't have a home. So I'll give that all a home, and we'll show you something else later, all right? Thanks for watching.